So, what's the name of the company?
Relove.
So I'm out here at a job today in Alexandria for a company, they're a charity called Relove. And now they've been on the phone to Telstra. They tried to get an NBN connection here, and basically Telstra's told them they've got no cabling into this factory complex. And so I come out today because basically we're going to put them on a 5G system, but we had to wander around and we actually found an IDF here, right? Now this IDF, there is an MDF on site as well, where it's got an OPAIR range coming in from the street, and there was at some stage a Telstra fibre going in there, which has also been decommissioned. So what I'm doing, just to get some proof that this is all working properly, I've got an FSET connected to the first block on pair 9, and I'm running a trace back to the MDF. So I'm going to go to the MDF now, and then I'll find that tone there, and then we'll prove that there is a link between this building and the MDF frame. And we also spoke to another person that has a factory in here. They've been here for 20 years and they've had phones the whole time. Now they're with Commander, but still there's got all the copper lines in place to give them a service. So just making this video so we've got some sort of documentation to put in our report. So as you can see, it's quite a big factory complex. Now I've done some work for this customer before in a house, and this is a charity that she actually runs. And I spoke to some people in this one here, and they've had the phone on for 20 years, right? So what I'm going to do, I found the MDF. I went for a walk around, right? And there's an MDF just in here. Right, and voila. So I don't know what Telstra's talking about. There's no cables coming in here, because obviously there is. Right, so you've got the mains coming in. Right, we've got an OPAIR range here of 0451 to 500. Right, so they've got a 50 pair coming in. You know, you can see, obviously they've had NBN out here. You know, jump of this NBN. You got a bunch of Telstra tags, you know, from the past. So I don't know what's going on. So they did have a Telstra fibre in here at some stage, right? But you can see there's no lights, everything's switched off on that. So that's obviously now been decommissioned. But they've got, you know, they've obviously got it. And so each one of these goes out to the apartments, to each factory on the B side. So what I'll do now is I'm going to find this customer's one that I just sort of plugged in, and then we'll just prove that we've got a cable from the MDF to their factory. There it is, straight away. All right, so factory 1, block 1, I put it on pair 9 there at the MDF, or the IDF, and it's corresponding here perfectly, right? So yeah, I don't know what they're talking about, right? So yeah, Telstra, there's definitely cabling here. There's definitely people here that have internet and have phones. So I don't know what's going on. So this will be going in the report, and yeah, just hook this customer up. Otherwise, they're going to have to go over to 5G, but they don't need to, right? Because you've got cables here. Silly. So I'm inside the factory now. So just to complete this, they've got another IDF here, where they had a phone system before. So I'm just testing now, because this is running over to the one near the factory door. Okay, so I've got my toner on there, and right, this is a bit of a joke. I don't know why they couldn't see this in their records. Right, and there we have it. So everything I need to connect, and then I just found this in that IDF I just showed you. Right, so they've had NBN here in 2021, their connection, right? So that's been here since they moved out. Crazy. All right, so a little bit of an update on this one. We got to speak to Telstra again after we said there's cables there, but they still couldn't find the, they still said there was no cables, right? Even though we'd spoke to other people there, I'd shown that there's cables there. So I said, look, just don't worry about Telstra. Let's do this, right? So I told her what we're going to do is we're going to go on to this. It's called POI Checker, right? So just type that into Google. The first one that comes up is Aussie Broadband, all right? We go on there. And then what we did is we just went in and entered her address. Okay, so let's just do, for instance, just something. Won't put her address in. Smith Road, you know. Let's pick one here in New South Wales if there's one. It doesn't matter, there's one in Uguna. All right, and then just hit check address, right? And then what we found is that, yeah, her address showed up. So if your address doesn't show up here, it means, you know, there's no, you're not going to be able to connect. You're not in NBN's database. But hers connected, like we put it in Unit 1 and Unit 2 because she occupies both factories, and they've knocked down the wall in between them and they just made it one big factory. But both addresses showed up here, right? So I was like, oh, let's just go with Aussie, right? Because Aussie's going to be 20% cheaper than Telstra. They're a much better service anyway. And yeah, so we just went over to Aussie. They obviously have all this in their database. They just typed in her address and went, yep, no worries, let's sign you up. And the following day, she was connected. She actually called me that afternoon and said, oh, yeah, they've connected me. You know, so I got on to Aussie that day. They said they couldn't provide me with a channel pair number. So I went and did all the work I had to do. I actually found an old pair that was working with that tag that you're seeing there and connected it up. Everything was working. And I thought, oh, well, that's obviously it because I couldn't give me a channel pair. So I just used that old one that was tagged there in 2021. And it was a working service. So I actually got a working service off that, but it wasn't actually the right one because then NBN showed up probably about 1 o'clock. And then they said, nah, we're not getting sync on that one. So they went back out to the pillar, swapped it over because it's a fibre to the node service, swapped it over, and then he got sync. So that someone was still paying for that service, and it was just working. So she probably could have got a free one, but anyway, so I got hooked up with a nice Asus router, put that there in that corner of that room, and that covered the whole factory floor. So they were getting like 150, 160 meg off fibre to the node, which is pretty mind blowing. But yeah, so she's got a really good working service there now. So job complete. They didn't need to go to 5G. Telstra dropped the ball, so we handed the ball over to Aussie, and Aussie ran to the finish line. Hey guys, it's Jason here from Securicom. So if you're in need of some internet help, whether that is getting a fault fixed up like a bridge tap, or you have some sort of an issue on your NBN service, or maybe you need to have some new cabling and sockets installed, we provide a range of services to help you out. There'll be some links underneath this video, and you can click on those links and I'll take you through to our website where you can book my service. All right, thank you very much. Goodbye.